Well, hello. God bless you and good afternoon. Amen. I pray that you are blessed on today. And we'd like to thank you for joining us in our conversation on today. My name is LaSonya Richardson.
Juanita Taylor.
Ashleah.
And we're just going to be here just having an all-around conversation. And we invite you to talk with us. As we talk. You comment, amen. Anything you want to say, just come on in and join us in our conversation, amen. The topic today we're going to be talking about is generational sins, issues, just things that happen in our generations, amen. Let's talk about anything, family.
Generational, the things that you pick up.
Yeah.
The bad habits.
Learned behaviors.
The behaviors.
Yeah. Yes. We have a lot of learned behaviors. I know that sometimes we think people give us things or teach us things, but sometimes we learn things simply by just being in the presence of others. We see them do things, and we pick it up.
Yes, we pick up things from other people and, being around other people's environments, but it all starts in the home.
Yes, that's like the first place.
Yes, it always starts in the home. Start as a kid, you see your parents doing things.
Right.
For example, like abuse, like, domestic violence, squabbles and stuff like that. Truth be told, my mom was, she used to always fight a lot. Seriously. She did. And she always fought. So I saw that. Now, one thing about it, I never felt like that was right. Even as I got older, I'm like, hey, I don't feel loved because you hit me in my eye. I'm sorry. Yes. So, that's one thing I saw, but I didn't do. I didn't take that with me thinking that's okay. Right. I knew that wasn't okay.
Yes.
But yeah, we see stuff like that. What we watching on the TVs, what we listening to.
Yes.
Yeah, so. I know, there's a famous couple. You remember Chris Brown and Rihanna.
Oh, yes.
And one thing that was happening was when they began to tell their stories of what happened, both of them had domestic abuse. One was just the yelling and the screaming, but the other one was the yelling and the screaming followed by hands-on, okay?
Right.
And so for them, I don't know if they try. I mean, sometimes we don't try to pick up things. It's just that stuff has an emotional feeling on us. You see it all the time, and sometimes you don't know you're going to do it too until something happens,
and
and you react. Yes.
I think it's more of you, like you said, you push that button, you don't know that button is really there, and so it take you to that point, and then you be like, oh man, I shouldn't have did that.
I know, because some stuff is in you that you don't know yet because you have not been exposed to it.
Yes.
You have not been pushed to that level, and so some things you just don't know until you get in that space.
Generational.
Yes, generational.
Yeah. You don't know you're a fighter to some, but you don't know your grandmama and granddaddy been knocking folks out since the beginning of time.
40s
it's
and 30s,
in you.
Yeah.
It's in you. They waking it up. Like,
yeah. So they may have been gangsters and you not know it.
We don't even know it. Grandma, my whole gangster out here. You don't even know it.
For real. That's why you got to do your history. Like,
family tree.
My aunt and my grandma used to say, like, with dating, you need to find out what's their last name. Who they folks? You might be dating your cousin.
Yes. Yeah, I tell mine, look out for these names right here.
Right.
I tell them. Yeah. And so a lot of stuff is just learned behaviors. We don't even try.
Right.
To do everything we see. Some stuff we know is wrong. We know it's not good. We don't feel good about it. We didn't feel good when it was happening. But at the same time, because we were not taught anything else or we were not seeing anything else, that it just kind of like
it's natural.
Gets inbred in us
like it's normal.
without us trying to.
Yeah, because ain't nobody stopping you because they're doing it.
Right.
Like that's normal to them. So of course, like if you doing this, you stealing up out of people's purses, and I'm watching you doing it, and nobody told me to stop doing that. Yes. Nobody gave me the talk, like saying this not right,
right,
or you don't supposed to do that, So,
or what about the parents that let you steal when it's convenient to them?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
Yes. They do.
The
convenience
I got a story
stealing.
on
That's
that
what you call it. Convenience stealing.
Right, because some parents will teach you things and tell you what to do and how to do it.
Yes, they will.
Yes, they will. Because it's convenient to them.
Right.
Yes, they will.
Like a parent would go in the store and say, I want you to get this, I want you to do this, and do this right here, because they say that because they figured if you're a small child and you grab it out the store and they catch us, then what'll happen is you'll be like, girl, what are you doing? Yeah.
Right. They can play it off.
Yeah.
Like they got a whole
Until you say, you
strategy.
told me to do
Right.
it, then what? Then what are you supposed to do?
I actually had that happen. I gotta go into it. Okay, I have a little story to tell. Okay. And my mom, I'm sorry, I love my mom, but my mom got a track record longer than 3rd Street. And I'm not trying to
3rd Street.
Yeah, longer than 3rd. And we was all going on a trip to Disney World.
God.
And it was supposed to be me, my sister, my daughter, my little cousin, and my aunt.
Right.
Okay, so I ended up backing out of the trip. My sister had to work; she backed out. But you know, I still sent my daughter ahead, so I didn't send spending money. I didn't bought clothes, everything. Right. So they go out of town. They goes to Florida, whatever.
Right.
So my mom called me like. When they get, it's like they about to get ready to come back home, like the day before they came home or what have you. So she called me and she was saying that my daughter was acting out. And I know my child, she's not that type of child. I know everybody take up for their kids, even when their kids bad, but that's not my child.
Right.
So, but I get on my child. I discipline my child. So she got me in an uproar and I'm thinking, stuff going on, but the whole time, my mom, yes, she trying to get me prepared for what's about to go down.
Oh,
pretty much. So
pre-prep.
Yeah. So
setup phase.
So I went and they came in town. I go and get my daughter, whatever. So my daughter got all this.
Bling.
I'm talking about she done got everybody something from the gift store. She got earrings and necklaces and bracelets and pins and everything. Now, one thing I know, when you go to Disney World, everything is expensive.
Yeah,
so how are you buying it?
Yes.
I didn't send that much money.
Yes.
So I go pick her up or whatever. So I'm like, no. Okay, but before we get there, my mom told me that my daughter was, what did she pick some up or she stole something to that degree. So I'm already on fire. I'm fire hot. I'm ready to get on. I'm ready to, I'm ready to bring the belt out.
How old was she?
Was she 7? She was old enough to know not to steal.
Okay.
She know I don't play that. So, okay, I go pick her up. So I'm instantly, my ex-boyfriend, we had a talk. I was in such an uproar that he had to calm me down. And he told me, he said, now, don't go over there touching her, none of that, like whooping on her or nothing. Find out what's going on first. He had to bring me to reality of who we dealing with, my mother.
Right.
Yes. So I was like, okay, let me calm myself down. I'm talking to my child, and I'm asking him, so what did you buy? I'm just asking questions or whatever. And she's like, I got this, and I bought this, and I bought that. So I just went into it. I was like, oh, so you picking up stuff you ain't got no business? You know.
Right.
And she just looked at me and her mouth dropped. And she was like, oh, And she was like, well, I thought it was okay because I saw my grandma doing it. Ooh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, okay, once she did it, my mom caught on to that and was like, okay, well, let's, let me go and use her. Let me use her. So this is what she said. She was like, well, I thought it was okay. And I said, so how was you doing it? Like, was you putting it in a purse? Like, what were you doing? She said, well, I use my purse, and if I ain't have my purse, I use my grandma. I was like, wow. Oh, okay. And it was just, for real, we had a problem after that. And so you're going to use my child.
Right.
Okay. And you got a track record, and y'all all the way in Florida, so I got to come get. Okay.
Right. So in other words, these things are taught, and parents do teach their children how to do certain things. And so some things are not just, behaviors you watch them do or see them do. They're telling you to do it. Like, I taught you how to do this and do it right.
Yes, you should be able to do it. I was in school with a kid that was like that, and their parents should teach them how to just go and steal food at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. And it's like, when we get to the front, we just push the basket real fast and just go. And I'm like, so what do you do with the basket? Push it all the way to the house. I'm like, how many baskets y'all got at home?
How many baskets they have at
Yeah,
home?
because they got, you constantly stealing food because they was getting assistance, but I guess she was doing other things with the food, but she just pushed the basket on home. So you coming down the street, Chevy Drive with a whole basket. Like, people don't see that you got groceries just not in a bag, in a basket you running full-fledged with.
Wow.
I'm sorry, y'all. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you would think that a parent would not teach on purpose, but
well, some parents feel like you said. Some parents don't look at us as growth.
Right.
They look at us as, well, I was a product of somebody I didn't want to be with.
Right.
And that baby ain't going to be nothing no way.
Right.
So let me just go head on and give them the realness of it.
They kind of do that too. What happens is parents will say things like, well, you just like your daddy,
Yes.
Well, you just like your mama.
Yes.
Just like your grandmama act the same way, and you do the same thing, and you crazy just like her,
That mean they gave up on them at a young age.
Woo, that's
so that mean they just don't, they don't care.
Right.
So they feel like, well, I ain't gonna get in trouble. If I go to jail, then I'm gonna have to pay bond to get out. It's easy for him to go to juvenile and get out.
Right.
Wow.
So that's just being instilled like that. And I've been around some kids that had those problems. It's the same way.
Yes. Wow, that's something. That's
I have
something.
too.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, I have I know I'm leaning in on my family a lot, y'all, but I have an aunt that does that, to her son. And she don't know that she really she's ruining him by doing that. She ruined him. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. She ruined him. He's slow, and she called him everything. Mm-hmm. And he grow up, he got older, and he don't even want to deal with her. Mm-mm. She pushed him away, or he thinking these things because she said it to him so much.
Okay, yeah. It's something too. Another thing that happens is sometimes it's not even the homes or the parents themselves. Sometimes it's this current, present generation, the culture of the generation right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have so many things going on. Like we watch not just TV anymore, but we watch the internet, and we watching all these different stations, and we having people that are rappers who are having money, not just any rapper, but the rappers that send images of women, the video vixens, and the dancers and stuff like that. We're watching, or our children are watching these type things, and so the parent may not be teaching them directly these things, but they're seeing these things. So the people around us, when I left the house, like I said earlier, I didn't have cable growing up, and so. But not just cable, we got everything now. Right. And so not only that, but I used to go over to others' house, and when I went to others, they had cable. And so I did see other things other than, regular TV. But at the same time, my parents didn't teach me that. Yes. And so it was the present culture. My friends introduced me to things.
Yes.
And that's true. That is so true. They don't teach you. And I used to watch things on TV myself, and you got... those kids like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be like that. Wow, yes. I want to have that, because they looking at it, or they looking at like shows like Atlanta Housewives
reality shows. Yes.
Yeah, all these reality TV shows, Love and Hip Hop,
and people are getting paid to act like that.
Yes, and don't really act like that. Sometimes some of them don't. They're doing it for TV, but the kids see it.
But it's a way to make money, though.
Yes, so they're gonna throw it out there.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
A lot of kids also don't know their own identity.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yes.
They don't know their identity. Like, you have to teach your kids who they are.
Right. Yes.
They can see, I want to be pretty. Even when I was growing up, I thought that I went to school at Mitchell, and then I ended up going to Central. So I went to Central. All these kids are totally different than what I used to see it in the hood. Yeah. I'm used to seeing, I'm cool in the hood because I'm the freshest one in the hood. I'm on point. But when you go to a different school of reality hits you, Central was a reality school for me.
Okay.
So then you got these parents that are doctors and lawyers, and their parents have real businesses back then. My mom just had a regular job She worked 12, 14 hours. So in the hood, we hood rich.
Right.
But what about when you go to a different school
Yes,
and they don't
different
care about
environment.
name brand? They worry about grades. They worry about, they
Yes.
talking about essays, and you like essays. I don't want to
Right.
write a paragraph, so I don't want to do this. But those things are introduced. So it taught me of identity, because I felt like when I got to that school that you had to have long, pretty hair to be considered to be pretty.
Wow,
Because
yeah.
all the kids had long, pretty hair and things like that.
Right.
They weren't wearing weave and all the other stuff, but we was
Right.
used to seeing it
Yeah.
in the hood. So it's different atmospheres you look at and you grow around and what you saw. So when I was introduced to something different, well, I want that, what they doing. I don't
Right.
want this right here no more. I wanted this. So when I started changing, it was a problem because I was around my environment and I wanted different. So I started changing myself.
Right.
Like I stopped buying all those things and I wanted something else. I wanted just nice clothes. I wanted to
Right.
wear heels. And she was like, where are you getting all this from? Because it's something that she wasn't accustomed to and wasn't used to dealing with. So it was a problem because I wanted something different.
Right.
And then from that day then, when she realized that, I started having problems as mother and daughter for a long time.
Wow.
Because it just wants something different. And some parents can't take their children, change it because they feel like you're going to leave them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
That's what that
That's
is.
it.
They're going to leave, you're going to leave us behind. Yeah, I'm going.
Right.
I'm out.
For sure, huh?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and that's true. All of that is true. I mean, it's just exposure. When you start traveling, that's one thing that the internet did do. It helps you to be exposed to different people and different cultures.
Yes.
Because check it out. How is it that I'm living here in this city and somebody else in a far away country, we're speaking the same slang and the same language and wearing the same clothes? You would think that, they
be
wouldn't.
different.
It'd be different,
Yes.
But because of the internet, because people can connect with each other and see things that they hadn't normally would have seen, we're exposed, or our children are exposed to a lot of things.
But you have to look at this too. Some parents don't want their kids mind to go that far.
Perhaps.
I want to keep you right here in this box because right here I know I got you.
Well, so that's another way then. Some people tell their children what to do, and some people block their children from growing, from having other exposure, from
Yes.
learning other things and growing, just being an all-around person who's growing.
That's true.
That's
Wow.
true.
That's
That
true.
is so true. They don't travel. They don't take them
Wow,
to do
right.
anything, any activities.
Right.
They just stuck,
Right.
like whatever.
You
Or they
just-
leave,
right.
they go on off to the club or whatever it is that they do, and the kids just be there. I was a latchkey kid, so I understand.
Wow.
That's true.
That's something, because sometimes we're exposed to other things. So it's the things in this generation that really, kind of expose us to different things. Another thing that I want to bring up is that, people are always talking about, there are people who grew up. I remember when I was in high school, there was this group of people who grew up, they went to church all the time. And so if they had their own kind of culture,
Right.
and people used to remark on them saying things like, why are you wearing that long skirt, or should you be wearing long nails? And so it's like that was their culture, and that culture was passed down to them,
Right,
and
yeah.
so but I met one lady, she had a degree in I forgot what degree she had, but she was at University of Memphis. And what she did was, I ended up talking to her on the phone accidentally. And what she did was, she explained to me, she said, well, since your husband is a minister, she said, let me ask you a question. She told me her experience in her generation. And because they believed that everything was a sin, everything you do not wearing long skirts was a sin. And so she felt like, they would tell her that if she did something different, that there was a demon.
Right. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, and they were constantly trying to cast the demon out of her, and she had to run away from them,
crazy.
And so, but still, though, what she said was she feel like, she don't know what she is now because of them. She don't know who to be or how to be or what to be. But she's scared to name the name of Jesus because she was afraid that the Jesus demon was going to come and get her.
Oh my
The
God.
Jesus demon.
But that's true. I see that on the movies though.
The Jesus demon.
Yeah, I mean, like that
Those two
just
words
sound like
don't go
something off a
No,
movie.
they don't.
But I mean, yes, it's important that we find. I'm just now finding my identity. Like I'm just now knowing who I am. Like
Right.
seriously, because as a kid, we go through things, and I went through a lot as a kid that I wasn't supposed to go through. I seen a lot that I wasn't supposed to see, and now I'm just I'm trying to find out who I am. I am figuring it out.
But that's the effect, right? I mean, because you're trying to learn, you're just growing up. And so you don't know who to be yet, but you're waiting on people to install different things in you.
And they can't.
But they can't.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
They won't.
And they don't know.
And
They
they
don't
not.
know how.
Look,
They don't
well,
know.
there was a song by Janet Jackson. I'm not, so I can't.
Yes.
And I won't. Yeah.
But that's true, though, because when you go back to your family line and you actually pay attention,
Right.
your mom was done that to her mom. Her mom was done like that by her mom, and it's just like an ongoing thing. And it's so now it's like how you break that. Like how do
Right.
you?
I know one thing though. One thing we are seeing is that even for us, like African American, what's happening is over the years, we people have been trying to go back to their roots, go back to natural hair,
Yes.
and so that's one expression of who we are to a lot of people. And not only that, but the type of clothes. I said to a lot.
I know.
And the type of clothing we see, people are wearing, taking up different clothing and different types of earrings and all type of things. So they're trying to reclaim who they are and
Motherland.
reclaim their culture. Yeah.
They
To
want
the motherland.
kente cloths
Yes.
and stuff. And hey, to each his own.
And certain fabrics and different things. Right. So let's get back into the more spiritual realm, spiritualness of things. A lot of people we talk about sins and how sins travel down through your bloodline and how they travel down to generation. Like one thing you will see in your, let's say you will see in your grandparent, like alcoholism, and then you see that in like your father, and then without you even knowing, it's in you.
Yes.
Okay, 'cause I know for myself, there was one thing we had all the time was beer in the refrigerator. And so I thought beer was just beer. I never looked at beer as anything else but beer.
Right.
I tasted the beer, I liked the beer, I drank the beer. But then I got to a place where I go and steal a couple of them. I said, I like
Get a
this
little
taste. Right. But then it went further, then it went further. My friends, they were having, I don't know who this guy was, but he showed up one day. And the day he showed up, he was buying all of the beer. And so he bought a variety of beer, like Bud Light, Michelob. I mean, you name it. He just had a variety. Of course, he had the mints and the what you call those, the barbecue pork rinds.
Rinds.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Pork
what's up with
rinds.
that? I don't get that.
Yeah. But anyway, the reality is I started drinking. And I liked beer, so I used to drink beer. They also had the malt liquor, the Colt 45. And so what happened was I started drinking it, and I started getting drunk. At first, I was just drinking a beer here and a beer there, but I started getting drunk. And then I saw myself acting crazy. I was throwing up. And I thought that because when I was drunk, I thought that I was acting normal in the presence of my people, my family, but they knew I was drunk. And so then I was doing it so much. Not only was I doing it on the weekend, but we started doing it on Monday, on a Wednesday, just whenever. And I was just like, but I was drinking and consuming, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. And so I didn't realize that I was going to be having a problem or an issue with that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Wow.
Right. And so the thing is, how do you even know this is going to happen? So things kind of pass down from generation to generation. Have you seen that in the lives of others?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. I've
Yes, I
seen the drug abuse in my family.
Right.
I've seen drug abuse. I saw some alcohol. I had a cousin get drunk off a cap full of beer. So, I mean, just a cap full. And he tear the whole house up. But I've seen more of the drug abuse. Like drug abuse has been a thing that's kind of like in our family. You like, and I done seen you all go from everything to nothing. You ain't gotta never worry about me. You know, that's how I feel. But everybody don't know how to say no. They feel like you said, it's a part of them.
Right.
You just keep going and going and going.
Right.
So I don't.
Right.
Yeah, alcohol, drugs, domestic abuse, like all type of abuse.
Right.
Like I've seen it. So yeah, it's just the thing is how we saw that, right? And we, some of us lived through it. Now you older, you having kids.
Right.
Where do you break it? Like you have to break it.
Yeah, I mean, but before we can ever break it, we have to identify
Fight
what it
it,
is.
yes.
Because if you don't know what it is,
That's
what
true.
you can't identify, you can't rectify.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
That is true.
But I've seen things, this is the thing that got me. I've seen these things happen, and sometimes you only see the generations once, like, the person is grown. I ended up in a situation where I actually saw the small child start doing sexual seductions, and it blew my mind, and I didn't know how to react, and and I ended up talking to my husband. I was like, babe, I saw this as this young girl. And so when I saw her brother, I warned her brother. I said, well, listen, I didn't tell him what happened. I said, well, listen, it's not good for her to be around your friends and sitting in their lap and just and just hanging out, because I was concerned about some type of molestation or something like that. Not that everybody does that, but my thing is that if there is a person that does that and there is a child that's already preconditioned to such behaviors, then the thing is that it could happen and you not know it.
Yes, and that's true.
Yes.
Okay, back to the molestation. I say I have a friend, and she got molested as a child by a stepfather or whatever. And she reached out, and she told everybody that she can tell. Nobody believed her.
Wow.
So she came to school, and she would would tell me, and it's like he'll be doing some weird stuff and be hiding behind a door at night.
Wow.
And it's like, who you go to, and who do you go to? I done went to my mama, I done went to my brother, and there's nothing done about it.
Wow.
So what do you do? Who do you call? Like, and then when they're going through that, okay, they think, okay, well, they don't care. So they're going to keep dealing with it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
One thing about that is weird is that, okay, this person this was done to them.
Right.
But what happens if nothing stops to break that up, what happens is that person will grow up and start doing the same thing. So they become at first they were the victim, and now they're the one who's going after people, and so they're hurting people.
Yes.
And so it's crazy how that evolves. You would think that because they were hurt, that they if they were hurt, then they would not hurt anybody else or want that done to anybody else. But apparently there's something that happens to them. It becomes inside of them that we can't always explain, but it causes them to turn from being the one hurt to now hurting others.
But they don't probably think they even hurt nobody, because they feel as if, well, if my daddy did it to me, then it's okay because this my daddy. So when they go out and do this to somebody else, they don't feel like it's wrong until you get caught, and then somebody say something about it. And then now they go back into this, oh, okay, now this is what's going on. Like, now it's a problem. But what about when I was going through? It wasn't a problem then.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying spiritually, sometimes that stuff get ingrained in who you are, in your heart.
Yes.
And you don't know, you don't really know what you're doing or what you're going to be doing. All you know is you have an appetite now that you didn't have before.
Yes.
And so you got it, and it's happening. And so now you not only have it in your heart, but now you're expressing it outwardly.
Yes.
And so we're talking about sin, like that generational sin. And so there are people that this stuff is coming in their bloodline. It's coming down the family line, and it's happening to them. And and because it was never broken from them, it just passes on
down. Yep.
Amen. So that, we had a good talk, and that was very good. And so we just wanted to identify, different types of generational habits and sins and issues, because things do flow through the family. And when we see things that happen in the family over and over and over again, these are like cues and indications of things we should look out for, just in case somebody is trying to find out. So that's a good way, or a good indication of finding out. And so we thank you. We want you to keep on commenting, stay with us, like, share, and comment in the box. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Now you looking at this cycle that's done showed up in these kids, and imagine them trying to figure out why they are so dysfunctional. Could you imagine them sitting there like, I don't know why I'm like this, and how the devil has so much opportunity to dance on that? Look at you. You so ugly, girl, your brother raped you. Your protector, your supporter, he came, and the Bible says it was violent. He came and treated you like a prostitute off the street. Put yourself in the mind of a woman with a wonderful, worshiping, prophetic daddy, money everywhere, and a brother that didn't protect you. And now with daddy, what happens is that initial trust got broken. And so now, and especially for those of you that experience this with a family member, now you look at the world in very untrustworthy lens, because here's the logic. If my family can do this, then I don't know who people are. My family taught me what to expect from people. So now that I'm exploring the world, I'm bringing that lesson from my family into my engagement with who? People. If you want to see how this works, the story of David is so crazy. You got David who experiences, wow, this rejection from Jesse. Can y'all endure this? Your natural father, let's come out of Walt Disney and look at this like it's a story. Your natural father has a prophet come to town. He asks you, where's all your boys? Jesse says, David, stay back here, or y'all go out there. One statement that y'all read, but what he said to David was, it couldn't be you. You not worth it. You don't belong with them. I don't want the prophet to see you. Think about that plant of rejection. Can we go deeper? Can we go deeper? The prophet comes out and says, no. Somebody else is here. Jesse's like, oh crap. Oh Lord. Why was Jesse nervous? Don't nobody know who David's mama was? And the Bible says that he looked different from his brothers. Could it be that the reason why David was hidden is because of illegitimacy? And as a political biblical character, you cannot have an illegitimate child. Why were you hiding him? So Samuel came to town not to just anoint the new king, but to deal with Jesse's history. I got something don't nobody else know. He anoints the secret. God, I love your word. I'm trying not to run. He puts the oil on the head of that thing. The secret child is now king. Pay attention. You have to journey with me to see this in you. Secret child is now king. Y'all didn't see this in me. You didn't want this out of me. The oil is now on me, and I don't need you because I got Samuel and I'm running after Saul. I'm the king now. Kings are at war. David's at home. Kings are fighting. David is relaxing. No, you don't understand. I brought the ark back. I have used my achievement to retaliate at my pain. I got Saul's wife. He mad at me and I'm married to his daughter. I love the Lord. He is my shepherd. But I got a Jesse hurt that didn't go away with that oil. That Jesse hurt got stronger because of that throne. So now I'm in a position, oh God, I love your word, I'm in a position to act out my pain differently. You couldn't see it as a shepherd boy because nobody cares who hurts the shepherd boy. But now I'm the king. And because I'm the king, I'm going to do what I want. Bathsheba, pay attention to this. I'm going to put Uriah on the front line. Say, put your weight on it. Which by Bible history, he could have married her in a matter of weeks anyway because Uriah was on his way to the front line. David accelerated what was already going to happen. Now I'm an impatient king. I know you're about to get put on the front line anyway, but I'm going to force it because I want it now. And kings are at war and I'm at home. So because I'm not in the war I was born for, I'm thrown in a war I'm not ready for. I should have been doing what kings did. But because I'm not acting like a king, I'm only physically a king, but I'm not emotionally reigning yet. Let me do this like anybody's hurting does. How about it, most? Let me get a hold of this and put it in my own hands. Bathsheba, come to me, girl. I saw you up there twerking and carrying on. Drop down and come on down here. Bathsheba comes, responds to this. Pay attention. All we know about Bathsheba was she was married to a man of power. Uriah had a level of influence, but he sure wasn't David. So David has a door in Bathsheba's identity to do what he wanted to do. She was probably a woman who liked being in position because it translated into how she saw herself. Bathsheba comes down, they do what they do, and David murders him, gets him killed. Oh, but there's a Jesse hurt that's about to show up in Amnon, in his daughter, in his other son. Do you remember who Absalom is? You know, we spend a lot of time talking about Absalom. I do. It's a thing we wrestle with. You know what y'all forget? He was the son of David. Now, watch this. Your daughter has been raped by her brother. You have lost a child. So you got a grieving dad over two deaths. The physical death of this child and the identity death in my daughter at the hands of my son. Now my other son is mad at me, pay attention, because I wasn't there for his sister. So he's going to try to kill his baby brother, not knowing that what got all of us here is my hurt from Jesse. If I was more whole from Jesse, I would have been more present for Amnon, for Tamar. He came and treated you like a prostitute off the street. Put yourself in the mind of a woman with a wonderful, worshiping, prophetic daddy, money everywhere, and a brother that didn't protect you. And I was...
We're high. We're glad you're back, and we thank you for staying with us for the rest of the conversation. Earlier in the show, we were talking about generational habits and issues and even sins. Some might even call them curses, but we're going to continue on with our conversation. But now we're going to focus more on solutions. Okay, one of the solutions we want to talk about is recognizing. You know, if you can't recognize what it is, people need to recognize them. And what's one way we can think of that we can help people to recognize a generational curse?
Just own it. Just own the issue that you have the issue. Just own it. And, you know, owning is not going to make you less of a person.
Right.
It's not going to make you not respectable. It's not going to make you worse than what you think you are.
Right.
It's going to make you enter into the exit of, okay, I'm finna do something different.
Right.
Yes, you have to know what's going on with you in order to get a solution to the problem, right? You got to know it's the problem.
You have to know it, right?
Yeah, so own it.
Yeah,
right.
just own it.
And one way people know, I think I said this earlier in the show, is that to recognize it, because sometimes we just got issues because we got issues. You know?
Sometimes.
But sometimes things are generational issues or things we see in people. We look at their daughter and look at the mother and then look at the grandmother, and we see the same type of things that they're doing. Things like that are generational curses. So that's one way is to recognize it first. And if you don't recognize what you're dealing with might be a generational curse, then you're not going to even be able to find a solution because you don't know where it's coming from, how it started, or anything. So that's one good way is to recognize the patterns that are happening in families, the things that everybody do alike, you know?
Yes. Agreed. Recognize. Definitely got to know.
Right.
Got to know.
Right.
Because you got a problem.
Yes.
You got to know that you got a problem.
Right. Yes. I think that's one thing that happens when they do the Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12-step program.
Yes.
I think they have to recognize it and then
That's the first
admit
step.
it.
That's the
Admit
first
it.
step.
Admit it. Yeah.
Yes, I've been to plenty AAA with my
Really?
granddaddies. Yes.
I've never been.
You have to admit that you have a problem or
Right.
you have a drug abuse problem, and that's the first step of being recovery is admitting. So
Right.
whether it's I got a problem with sex,
Right.
alcohol, drugs, it's a problem.
Right.
Anger, it's a problem.
Eating, everything.
Eating,
Yep.
it's a problem.
I mean, there are all types of those
Yes.
problems. Things
Yes.
that we might not even think is a generational thing.
Yes.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah. I know one thing, like when we go to the doctor, one thing the doctors do is that when you come there, they ask you, why are you here today? And they give you a sheet of paper saying,
admission.
Who has this problem in your family? Is it your grandmother on your mama's side, on your father's side? Or who has this issue? The reason why they do that, because that's a good way to recognize if there's something flowing through your family, you know? And so that's why they ask those questions, because even if you're fine right now, if you continue the same habits, then you will most likely end up having the same issues like heart disease, breast cancer and stuff like that, you know? And so it'll pass on.
Yep, it's hereditary,
Right. So that's one way they do it, to identify it, you know. So we're trying to help people identify, because, like I said, if you don't identify it, then you won't know what it is, okay? And you won't be able to solve it. And so, like we said, and then admit it, okay? I have this problem. And sometimes, you know, I'm going to say one thing for myself is that in my family, I only had my father and my mother, no grandparents, no big mama, no great aunts and uncles, and even my aunts and uncles, they were far away, and the ones that were close up to me, they're around my age, okay? And so the thing is that I didn't have a good indication of seeing things flow through my family line. Right. But on my husband's side, when I got married, he had on both sides, his mother and his father. He had grandparents, grandmothers, and grandfathers on each side, grandmother and grandfather. He had great aunts on this side, great aunts on this side. He had aunts and uncles over here, and aunts and uncles. Everybody was close, cousins and generations, you know. So I was able to see in his family like 4 generations of people in one setting, you know, that I couldn't see in my own home because I only had my father and my mother. And so some people are not able to recognize generational curses because they don't have, like, they don't know who their father is.
Right, and it's true.
And they don't know who, some don't know who their mother is, or maybe their mother ran out on them, you know, and they have, like, they've been given up for adoption, so they can't identify it. So sometimes they don't know. But one thing about it is that if you have any type of problem, you know, you need to recognize it and admit it.
Just admit it. I feel like if you just admit it, like, you might not know who, you know, your mother or your father is, but it had to come from somewhere. You know, you just start drinking, just say, I want to be a drunk today, you know, and just became a drunk. No, something came, I just got this itch for some liquor. Right. No, it came from somewhere. So you have to identify that issue, and then you have to fight with it. Right. Fight with it, like battle with it. Battle with it. To me, I feel as if when you're dealing with people that have issues like that, battle with it as if you would battle with success. Right. I want better, I want more, so this is how I'm going to deal with it. Right. Yeah, you have to own it and take that. Like, yes, you do. I know it's hard to pass by the liquor store when you're driving and not to pull over and get you a little 2 shot. It ain't going to be able to work like that. But you got to have strength. But you do. I mean, I'm not an alcoholic, so I can't tell you how to fight something like that. But at the same time, I feel as if this is a strategy with me with a lot of things. If you want better, what you going to do to get it?
Right. That's good.
Well, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Okay. Or what I say. But seriously though, like as you said, when you want better, you're gonna do better. Yes. See, what I did, I prayed. I said, Lord, this liquor, it was getting to the point where it started out with a shot. Started out with a little mixed drink. Right. It went from mixed to I want it straight. It went from I want it straight to you know, y'all already know how that goes. So it was just getting worse and worse. And it was getting to the point where it wasn't phasing me. I'm like, hold on, I ain't even getting drunk. I'm turning up bottles and
you just drinking, just be drinking. As long as you see the bottle go up, you fine.
I'm taking shots and I ain't even making that face no more. Like when you don't make that face no more, like you an alcoholic.
Right, you are.
So what I did was I prayed. I asked God to kill things away from me. Take it away from me. And what he did was, but I did say this. I said, Lord, I want to get rid of the hard liquor, but I want to keep my wine. I want to drink my wine. So he just took it all away.
Right, there
he took the taste out of my mouth.
That happened to me too.
He took the taste out of my mouth, but you got to want to.
You got to want to.
You got to recognize it, because I was saying that I wasn't an alcoholic because I don't drink at home, but I'm always out and I'm drinking while I'm out.
That's what they call social drinkers.
Yeah, and my social was getting out of hand though. Yes. So Because I felt like I
Right.
wasn't drinking at home.
Right.
I want to drunk.
Yes.
But I was.
Thank you. Well, that's the same thing I had at home. I felt, well, I had a beer or two at home and no drunkenness. But at the same time, when I was around other people, they kept bringing it and bringing it and bringing it. That I started getting drunk. But then again, I didn't feel like I could help myself.
Going to
You
parties.
had to be a part
Yeah, like,
of
I
it.
can't let it go. So I did the same prayer, and I was like, "Well, God, I'm okay with having a buzz." I heard that if I pray, I look up to the sky in heaven. It's like, "Hey, God,
That's what I did.
I don't want to be doing. I don't want to be getting drunk. Okay, I just want to drink a couple beers." But I didn't say all the prayers that you said or deliver me. People say deliver me, but God will deliver you. He will step in and
He
take the
will.
taste out of your mouth. And so what happened was, I didn't know all that. I wasn't going to church. I had no church knowledge or Bible knowledge or spiritual knowledge.
Right.
And so for me, I said, I don't want to do this no more. I just want to drink a couple of brews and be all right. But then the next day, I got a hold of a brew, Coke 45 quart. Okay, and bam, I spit it out, and I was like, "What happened?"
Yeah.
And I was ashamed to tell my friends that I was
Not drinking no
So
more.
I didn't tell them. I kind of spit it out over to the side because it was a thing. Everybody had a quart, and nobody wanted to be the last one still holding theirs.
Yes.
But I was delivered in such a way where I didn't know that
you
could
wasn't-
happen.
Yes.
Okay, but then you gotta want to because everything is not going to just be taken away from you all the time.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you have to be resolute. You have to
Yeah,
make
you
up
gotta
your
want
mind and say, I want this change. And then you have to start searching for change.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what basically that happened to me, and you're gonna know when you're done. When it's over with, you're gonna know. You're gonna take actually, God took the taste out of my mouth, and you're just not gonna have the desire for it. So I put myself to the test. Everybody around me drink. So when I go out, everybody's drinking, whether we at the restaurant, club, however, whatever we doing. Kickbacks and family functions, they got liquor. So, I didn't drink none.
Right.
So I knew that I was done. When I didn't partake in anything, I knew it was over with. Now, I did try to drink a cup. It was a shot glass cup of wine. And it took me so long to drink it.
Right.
Like I was just like
Like you making yourself
like I was drinking some pickle juice or some vinegar or something. I was like, what is Yeah, but I knew then, I was like, yeah, it's over with.
Right. You have to be resolute about change. But one thing we can do though is like if you're having those type of things, one good thing would be is to get away from temptation.
Yes.
Things that tempt you. If you can.
Yes.
If it's where you go to, or the people you go to, or the places you go to, then if you're serious about stopping, then that's one thing is to first keep yourself out of temptation. A place where people are going to hand you, go on, man, come on. Because like I said, that when we were drinking, nobody wanted to be left with their cup full or their
Right.
bottle full. You don't want to be the last one. You can't handle it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I was proud of myself because I was around it. I went out with my cousin, with a couple of my cousins. It was a cousin that was celebrating a birthday. And, that was our thing. Like, we throw them Tito's back, and that was our thing. So when they seen that I wasn't drinking, everybody was, like, shocked. Like,
Right.
she ain't drink. You sure you don't want? I'm like, I'm done, It's over with. And they like, I'm proud of you. I was like, thank you. I'm proud of myself. 'Cause I was in that environment. Yeah, everybody getting drunk. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, but I'm cool though. I was cool with that.
Well, one thing about different things that may have happened in people's lives is that it's that if you're the child, then you don't know how to solve those problems until you get older. But if you are the parent and you kind of watching your children go through these cycles that you went through, the reality is if you don't get it broken or get help yourself, then you won't be able to help the child because you're still kind of stuck in that, And so, getting away from temptation is one thing we need to do, whatever it is, sexual temptation. And I say when people they're dating and everything like that, one thing I do say is that, listen, stop going to places in the dark and, stop going to these private spots, going back to the house.
Pandora's box and all of that, and then throwing rocks and hiding your hand and acting like everything. I mean, it is what it is. If you got an addiction, if you a nympho,
Right.
you gotta have it. I mean, you gotta have it.
Right.
You know, that's your
right. And you probably need like I haven't took AA. You say you took it or went
No,
around
I went
it?
with my grandfather.
Went with somebody. And so another thing they probably should have told them, I never went, was that have some type of accountability partner or something like that.
They say you to have someone strong that you can talk to. And I was the one that was strong. I didn't want to hear that though, you know. But you have to have somebody to talk to because you're thinking about, I'm dealing with a man that been to war 2 times. He said the second time, just said I wanted to go. I didn't want to deal with y'all. So you volunteered to go to war. So something's wrong with you to do that. You know that. But in his mind frame, it was him being structured because once again, he didn't have that growing up.
Right.
So that's what he turned to was drugs. You know, so when my granddaddy get high, it's like a whole nother high. It's not like he's like, I can tell you this stuff y'all over here doing is not. I was doing pure over there. I can tell you what it's like. I'm like, that's not something you're supposed to tell somebody, you know.
Right.
But people feel like it's comfortable and it's normal. But that's his comfort zone to talk to me because he has to have someone to be able to talk to. And it's to me, I feel like when you're going through those things, you have to have somebody. Hey, I'm an info. When you dating, you tell somebody, look, I'm an info.
Please
I don't know if you don't
somebody.
like this or not, but it's 7 days in the week, and I want you for at least 5. You know, so you got to say that so you don't know what you're dealing with, so people won't know what to deal with. You have to, like I said, own what your problem is. And deal with it.
Right.
That's it. Communication of what your problem is.
Right.
And do it with somebody you know you're not going to be judged by.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
And somebody that not necessarily just won't judge you, but you actually need help up out of the situation.
Yes, that can actually help you. That has a heart of
Right.
helping and not just,
Right.
okay.
So
and
true.
then next thing you know, everything you know is all over Facebook because this person said something, you know.
Right.
You don't want to deal with it, but it's hard because if I've been hurt in the past, who can I trust?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Right.
true.
So you got to find somebody
You got
that's
to
strong
find
enough to
it.
hear
Yes.
it and to
And to
handle
deal
it
with it.
and won't
Yes.
judge you.
Yes.
And somebody who also knows how to handle it and to help you up out of it, you know.
Yes.
Because we need it's one thing to talk about it and to admit it, but it's another thing to get the actual help that you need. Some people
Absolutely.
will not do that.
Yes.
Some people will not do things like counseling, you
Right.
know. Even spiritual things like, you know, people even in churches, people we call it spiritual, but they talk about some of the same issues about generational habits and issues and how to break them and accountability and even prayer they add to it.
Yes,
You know?
that's true. But one thing I think about the generation with the come to the church thing is when it comes to the religion, how you expect for me, a lot of people look at it like this, how you expect for me to trust you, but I didn't just seen you go to the crack house when you leave here.
Right.
So now it's at the point where you got to find somebody like, to me, it's like it was my big mama or like I said, my granddaddy, you know, because it wasn't judgmental. That's somebody you know for sure that could possibly truly love you and show you different. Even with your kids, yes, I have a problem. Child, admit, like you said, admit to your children, look, I messed up growing up with y'all. I messed up and I didn't do the best things, but this is what I want to do to fix it. I see you doing the same things that I used to do, and I don't want you to do that.
That's good.
That's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
Like I have to even admit to my kids, I was angry all the time. Look, baby, I'm sorry. But this is the reason why I was going through. Not to get them too much because they still kids.
Right.
But look, baby, this is what I need you to do. And when I ask you to do something, do this. You know, that's it.
But that's why, you know, I've seen even some of the talk shows, the reality shows. One thing that I have seen was that people, and parents, they say a parent didn't take care of their child or left them with other people, and they weren't responsible. And what happens is we see the two battling, and what happens is the parent is saying, "Well, I said I was sorry, but still, even though you said you were sorry or even admitted that child or the adult child, now their adult son or daughter, they now after that's happened, they still have to deal with what happened to them because it was traumatic to them and it hurt them.
Because you can say I'm sorry,
Right.
But it's just like saying you say to your kids, I'm sorry. Your kids know if you truly love. You say, well, I said I'm sorry. That's not going to fix, and it's not giving me what I need from you. I need you to be sincere. I need you to be caring. I need you to be there.
Right. So
That's
now
it.
we need to fix
So
the
now,
relationship.
yes.
In certain situations, though, the crazy part is that we have to come to a place where even if we talk to somebody outside of our situation, because sometimes family members and people we know can be partial, you know.
Right.
So sometimes we feel safe with people nobody else knows, like even like you going to to see somebody or a counselor or whomever. Okay, and so one thing is that its problem still has to be fixed. So they have to be willing to go through the process
with them.
of that,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you have to
want
be
it.
right.
You gotta want it.
You gotta
You
want
have
that.
to want the
Yes.
change. You
Right.
gotta want it, or you're gonna keep on dwelling. You're gonna keep doing what you're doing.
And here's another thing too. Even with that being said, like you said to your children, you apologize to them. And you
Yes,
told
I
them what's
do.
going.
Yes.
Everybody is not going to have that situation.
Well, see,
Everybody is not going to have
that's
somebody
true.
No,
to
and that
say,
is
"I
true.
did this. I'm wrong. I'm coming to you to soothe you, and I'm gonna help you fix it." No,
I have
everybody's
that
not
parent.
going to do that.
That's my parent. My parent is not gonna come out and she don't think she did nothing wrong. Like
Right.
seriously.
Right.
Well, see, my mom was the mom, like you said. Well, I said I was sorry. You know, she was like, well, she came out and she did. She was like,
I
well,
ain't gonna get that.
she said it like this, and it was like that, but it wasn't like that. She's like, well, I just didn't know what to do. Like,
Right.
and it's like, it's cool
But that's
for you to
honest.
say that. You being honest, but
It still need to be fixed.
it still need to be fixed. Like, okay, so now what? Well, I didn't know what to do. I was raised. I had you when I was young. All I knew was to go to work. You know, and this is what I did, and I didn't know a lot of things. So a lot of things, and I understood when she said that. It just opened up my mind
That's
instantly
good.
to be like, you know what? So now I see why you act like you act.
Right. That's
you don't
good.
know. Like,
but that's the thing.
truly.
We have to be understand. It's hard to be understanding when you're not fixed yet. Okay.
Yes. Right.
But at the same time, one thing I will say is that sometimes the people who hurt you or harm you are not going to come back to you, and they're not going to apologize to you. And so if you can get somebody else with you who can hear you and who can validate what you're saying and then help you even to walk through steps of forgiveness.
Right.
Yes.
That's major.
Yes.
That's major. Okay, going back to the molestation thing. You got to learn how to forgive these people. Like
Yes.
seriously, you have to learn how to forgive them. Because if you don't forgive them and then still try, it's nothing. It's still the same thing.
Right.
Yes.
So, yes, we have to
Right.
learn to forgive.
Yes.
Forgive. We're not gonna forget it,
But
Right.
just
but
forgive.
forgive.
Right.
When
Yes.
you forgive, it just like take a
Right.
sense of relief off
Yeah.
of you. You can get through it
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
You know,
You can take
it's
that-
not easy,
Right.
but forgiveness, that's the number one thing.
Right. It takes that
Yes.
sting off, that
Yes.
stronghold of feeling bad about yourself and
Yes.
having to carry it. Like, I don't have to
Yes.
carry that anymore. I'm
Yes.
letting that go. I'm taking this baggage off me,
Yes.
and I'm still me, regardless.
Right.
You know?
I think when I accepted that, like you just said, take the baggage off, it was like, okay. Just like, okay. You know, you
Right.
just have to be like, it's not saying it's okay to be hurt, but it's okay to say, okay. And just go from there. Like,
Right.
okay, they did it. So what? Now I know what not to do. I know what not to be around. I know what not to do this. And then you start learning from that yourself.
But also, I was the type of child and person that I sweep stuff under the rug. That's not
Yes,
good.
That's
Right.
not.
I
That's
would
not
close
good
my
at
mouth
all.
like,
Nah.
Yeah, like I used to go through traumatic stuff, and I used to sweep
Just
it on the
hold
rug and act
everything.
like it never happened, and that's not good at all.
not good at
but
all.
then also, who you confide in? Because I can't talk to nobody.
That's true.
So, you know, I used to look for other people, like my friends, their parents and stuff like that. But what happens when their parents jacked up too? So like, who do
can
you talk to?
Yes.
Right.
Seriously.
When
Now,
I went
can't
through
get-
that, I had a teacher.
That's good.
At school, I had a teacher. I was in
See,
junior high.
They get in your business.
Well, you have to know,
At
like
home,
even if,
they get nosy.
well, that's true, but she never got to the point of pushing it. She would just talk to me every day because she was my pre-algebra teacher, and I used to sit there and talk to her. She knew I was going through things, but she used to always tell me, even though I was going through things, she would push me to be smart, intelligent, continue to keep going. She used to call me ambitious then, you know. She used to call me, like that was the most powerful thing she could ever say to me
right.
because
That's good. That's good.
yes,
Well, I had that
was
happen,
powerful.
but they'd be on the phone with DHS talking about you getting abused or all in your business.
But
and
see,
then you
I
gotta
had
deal with that.
understanding between me and her. We had built a relationship.
Right, that's
Right. good.
So she wouldn't go there. Now, if I needed anything, she was there. Now, I never tried to go to her, but she knew my every step because at then I was a kid. I had a small cell phone, and I was working then, so she would check on me. Hey,
Right.
you made it to work? Or she would text me.
That's good.
So it's just somebody like a safe haven. You have to find somebody
But
that.
some people do that. I
Some
see
people
coaches
do that. Yes.
take on people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I've seen different people in the neighborhood.
And
I've
she
seen
helped out a lot. Like she really, really, really helped me. And it's like with her, you know how you try to do things, you show your parents, like, I did this. Like, it was never me telling her that, telling my mom that. It was me telling her that, because I knew that she believed in me. If nobody else did, she did. Like, seriously.
But that's good, because we do need people to validate us and to help us through it, because people can see things. That's why I was saying about recognizing it, that even if you're the young person, then you're the young person. But if you are like the parent or auntie or somebody like that, and you see these things happening in these children, you need to kind of make a little safe haven and just talk to them and just get to know them a little better, and then to a place where perhaps they'll begin to speak to you, or you'll begin to see things yourself.
Yes,
Right.
that's true.
So, yeah. And so another thing, too, we need to do is exposure. We can't stay in the same frame of mind. We need to learn new things, We need to grow in different ways, Because if we don't, we're going to be locked into that old way and to the old surroundings and everything we ever been through. And we're not going to learn that, hey, everybody has not been through that.
Yes, that's true. Because a lot of things you're saying, like you said, oh, I ain't never been through those things. But some people have and some people haven't. So you don't judge them off what they've been through.
I mean, it's something to some people. I mean, certain things are like strong. And,
that was me, because I'd be looking like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know you went through that. Well, I don't know what that feel like, know. But some things I can co-help on you with.
Right. I learned traveling. Traveling did it for me. Traveling, reading.
Yes.
Reading, just finding something that you like, a hobby. You know what I'm saying? You can take your pain
back.
Yes.
One thing I did see one time, I saw, this was years back, it was a reality show. I think it was with Flavor Flav.
Oh, Lord. The love of Flavor.
The love of Flavor.
I don't know. It was like they were in like a home with the women or whatever. And they were learning how to sit straight and be like, etiquette. Right. Etiquette. And Monique was on the show. And so.
Glam School or whatever it is.
And so what happened was one of the girls, as soon as she got there, she picked out a bed. And then another young lady came in and said, this is my bed. She said, no, I was there first. And they began to fight. So she asked her, she said, well, why did you get kicked off the show? And she said, well, this is what happened. She said, but why did you resort to fighting? There were more beds. And she told her the story of where she grew up. Right. I grew up like this, and we didn't have nothing, and I had to fight for everything I had, even to eat and stuff like that. And so that made the woman understand her, but at the same time, the woman had to get her to understand
you can't do that.
That was that situation. Right. Okay, you do what you have to do in that situation. But when you're in a whole nother situation, it takes other skills to operate in another situation. So you got to determine what situation you're in, and then use those skills. But you have to learn those skills. You have to practice those skills over and over again. So getting up in the morning with the affirmation, you have to practice that. Yes. And you have to make that your lifestyle over and over and over again, and you will change. Yes. And you're going to form the whole nother habit, And
that's true, because it's working for me. So I know it will change you. It will change your life.
Speaking the positive and just saying what you want different is what counts,
Right.
Even with your children, you never know. Your kids could be dealing with depression.
Right.
They could be dealing with anxiety and all of those things, or feeling like they don't feel pretty.
Right.
You never know what your child is going through, because they're kids and we run it back and forth, whatever it's there, but you don't know that. Sometimes, like you just said, speaking that is what actually changes the atmosphere in your house, and within you as a person and your children also.
Right, it'll change the atmosphere in your mind.
Yeah, it'll change everything, period.
Right. I heard this one woman, she said this was good advice. She said that sometimes, she does have off days, and she realized that she has bad days or off days. Mm-hmm. So she said that somebody told her, the days that you don't feel so good, dress up even prettier than what you usually dress.
Yes.
That way, what happens is when you dress up pretty, you'll walk out the door, and then people are like, oh, you look extra nice today. You look so pretty. Mm-hmm. And she said that stuff started feeding her, and she started feeling pretty again. She started feeling better because she was given all that validation and compliments.
Yeah. Yes. And another thing, we learn how to do, we have our woosah moments, inhale and exhale, because sometimes you can go, say we're going to the job or whatever, and I had somebody got a nasty attitude. You are already going through something. Right. We're gonna talk about that. You mad, you trying to pull it together so you won't go off on anyone, or catch an attitude yourself, and you got somebody that's nitpicking with you and ticking with you, and so you just sometimes take a moment to yourself, inhale, exhale. Because I actually got friends, and I got a friend that pop off quick. She quick to pop off. And we have to learn, how to deal with that, We can't do that all the time. You can't pop off. We go through the Wendy's. Come on now. We already know how they go. You pull up at the drive-thru. Y'all know these people got an attitude. Right. But you got to learn how to deal with certain people and not let people get under your skin to make you get out of character. So inhale, exhale. I don't care if you got to count to 5. Do the woosah like Martin did off Bad Boys. Yeah. However y'all want to do it. But that's another, way to help also when you're dealing with certain things and certain people like workhouse and all of that.
Right.
So.
Right. And even prayer, prayer helps because sometimes we don't have anybody else to talk to.
Yes.
And so what prayer does, if we're talking to God, but we're speaking it out and we're praying it out, and we're asking for help and we're recognizing it. The more we talk about it, the more we talk to God, the more we pray, we're really just kind of spelling out what's going on. Help me with this and help me with that. It's helping you to identify things that are happening in your life. We all need help in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yes,
and when you don't know who to go to, you can pray.
Yes.
And one more thing I would like to say is that one thing that works for me sometimes is to write things down.
Yes.
Because sometimes I will filter things out by writing it down.
Yes.
I used to throw it away though because I didn't want people to get it. But other ways I would do is that I was writing, end up filtering it out in poetry, in different works. And so I was like, hey, I can write a little poetry, and so it was happening. And so we have to get that stuff out of us, and we have to learn new ways of doing things. So we have to practice, and we have to learn new skills. And if you know you don't have it, then you have to seek it out. There are books, there are people and places to go, different places, and we have to do that.
Yes. Exercising.
Yes.
Exercising.
They say that when you exercise, it's like different things happen in your body, and what happens, it calls you to be happy.
Yes. No, it really does.
It
Give
does.
you energy.
I'm going through the stage of the weight change, and I'm trying to get myself back to where I want it. But me exercising is the best days that you can have in the morning. Whether it's raining outside or what, you still have to do it. And once you get done, you just feel like everything just lifted off of you. Now I can deal with life. Now I can deal with my day. But you have to do that first.
Yoga, kickboxing. Like if you want to release some stress,
kickboxing is it. Yes.
Kickboxing, boxing.
Yes. Kickboxing and boxing. I love those too. Yes. Those are very stress relievers. You might be tired, but it works.
You can even smack somebody
put their face on that on that box.
Pow, pow.
Yes. It works. Like seriously, it does work because nobody ever instructed and showed us how to deal with everyday life.
Right.
So now that you have been through all these things you've been through, now that you're a parent and you're a wife, what are you supposed to do?
Right.
You don't know. So you have to find some kind of way. Like you say, you become a lady that's actually praying. I'm praying for something different. And when that person come in the room, be like, look, I just prayed. You ain't finna come in here and I just got through praying, on this stuff like this. You're going to go back out and we're going to start over again. And if you have to do that, then that's what you have to do. But you have to take that. Take your peace. Take your structure, which you feel like is right for you.
Right,
That's true.
I remember one thing I did was stuff was happening to me, and I was rehearsing what was happening. And I said it over and over again. I was like, I'm trying to break out of this. Well, something happened. I said it over and over again, and then boom, I realized, hold up. She do this and then she do that. I started recognizing patterns in the person's behavior, and I was like, "Oh no, you're not gonna get me this time."
Yes, because I'm already ahead of you. I see what you're finna do.
Right,
yes.
10 steps ahead of the game.
Yes.
Right, I already know what you're about to do it, how you gonna do it, when you're gonna do it. Yeah,
and I'm gonna get myself together, put on my makeup, put on my earrings, put on my clothes. I'm gonna walk in the room and great everybody. Hey,
like it's nothing.
You know that gets under people's skin too. When you happy,
seriously.
You walk up, they want you to be
upset and
you be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Nice earrings.
I know they looking at you like.
She know I don't like her. I don't know
why she talking to me.
Yes,
but they can't help it. Everybody just bubbly like you bubbly. They can't have no other choice. They don't have no other choice.
That's true.
Right. Well, this is what some people do when they're trying to practice forgiveness. One thing they do is that the Bible talks about blessing others that hurt you or curse you or whatever. And so some people actually give little small, little nice gifts. whether it's some candy or,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, I'm good. How about you?
Right.
You know, it's
You
like,
want
you're not
one?
phasing me at all.
No, yes,
Okay.
yes.
You want the pink
Yeah.
strawberries? Or you want
Yeah.
I mean Starburst. I said straw, my bad.
Well, do we have anything else?
No,
Well,
I think we covered.
I think we covered it. Admit it.
Yeah, recognize it.
Recognize, admit it.
And then we talked about what?
Recognize, admit it.
Own it.
Own it.
Own it.
Admit it.
Talk, realize that you have the problem. No, that's recognizing it, right?
Right.
Okay, so admitting it
And be
is
resolute that you want
Yes.
to change.
be
Right.
open to change. You
Yes.
got to be open to change. You got to
Yes.
want to change.
Yes.
Period. You have to want to change.
And don't get so mistreated with what everybody
and
else thinks.
Don't go keep going around it, triggering it.
Yes.
Like, yes, if you're done with it, be done with it. You know what I'm saying? But you can go around it when you know you done.
Right.
Yes.
When
Yeah,
you know you're done.
when you know you're done. But if you know you're not, like, don't go around it. Don't keep
Yes.
putting yourself in the situations, in the environments, in the atmospheres where the drugs at,
Right.
where the liquor at,
Right, where the
where the
women-
sex at,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then we talked about exposure. You know, you have to
Yes.
be exposed to new things. You have to go
Yes.
new places, deal with new people, read books,
Yeah.
just do something different than your normal
Painting,
sure do.
music.
Right.
I love music.
I love
I love music.
Because
Now
you
watch
might
what you
find out
listen to
something about
sometimes.
yourself. You know, like I said with the
Yeah.
poetry, you might find out something about yourself that you
Right.
didn't know. And then if you're around other people and they like the things that you do, they'll be drawn to you and they'll be complimenting you and it'll be help feeding you. You know, people saying
yes,
good things
things
about
about
you.
you. Yes.
Right.
Explore yourself. Explore your talents. Like,
Right.
what are you good at? Like, what are you good at? What do you like doing? What's your hobbies? Find out some hobbies. Painting, reading, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Exercising. Some people ain't exercising. I don't know
Right.
how long. I ain't wondering why you so stiff and you ain't moved damn muscle. I ain't tried to, but just figure out like what do you want to do. Even if you can't get out of town, go take a drive. Go down on the river. We in Memphis right now,
Right.
so go on the riverside and go sit down on the bench and just stare at the view of the river. Like get a peace of mind. You got to get yourself away and get you some me time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once you're kind of settled within yourself, that's another way is that to give back. You know, to
Yes.
give back to people or to start recognizing that in other people. A lot of people, when they experience things, they end up having foundations and they start having helps groups and stuff like that, to help
Yes.
other people who had the same situation. We can sit down and talk about it and stuff like that,
Yes, that's true.
And so
That
you
is
help
so true.
somebody else because you'll be able to identify and recognize that in another child, even if you just kind of like be nice to them or
Especially
something like
with
that.
the children. And when you see it, if you can be a help and assistance to someone that's going through, like, don't just sit there and just, like, try to do something to help, if you see it. And especially with a kid, because we only know what we're taught. If we're not taught, we don't know. So, if you can help, reach out, be a, touch some, what is it? Reach out and touch
Somebody's hand make this world a better place. If you
But
can.
I'm just saying, seriously though.
Yeah. Today we were talking about generational habits and issues. Okay, oftentimes we're proud of our family and the things that our families accomplish. But sometimes we deal with negative family images, negative family patterns like alcoholism and depression and much, much more. What we want you to understand that it is possible to change those things. We want you to understand that we were just having a conversation, so we didn't cover every individual topic. But we believe that the more you know and the more you're aware, the better you can recognize these things in your life. And we want you to keep the conversation going. We thank you for joining us. God bless you.